2.22 when we do the jam and when we start to rehearse the piece. I have improved and extended the short version of the piece to make it a little longer. So we'll be able to work on that.
Cool. All right, we are live now, so yeah, let you know.
Okay, so should I say hello to everyone, or
Yep.
you want to switch my screen view so I see? I think we're good. So, hello everyone, welcome to another live stream featuring my students today, and we're really turning this live stream into an open rehearsal of the piece ICMC Sound Dreams in the Metaverse, which we're premiering on June 11th in my keynote address at the Berklee College of Music as part of the 50th anniversary of the International Computer Music Conference. This morning, I want to say hello to all of you who are joining us, and I especially want to say hello to Strongbear. Hello, Strongbear.
Yeah, hello, Dr.B. Hello, everyone. I'm excited for today because today's topic is pretty different from the previous week topic, which is like today we focus on rehearsing the piece for the ICMC 2025. And in the past week, I have pushed a lot of effort into like polishing the apps to make sure that it is concert ready, and like for the open jam as well, because we will have like this time we will have multiple hosts. So yeah, so in the past week we have new features like the jam mode, where we could have more control over like how many orbs, how many instruments that each player could create, so that will prevent any like new player and who hasn't familiar with the system yet, who hasn't like learned the control yet, like they won't be creates too many instruments that could cause chaos in the jam. And also we have a new concert mode, and in this concert mode, like we'll put some controls over like whether you you could like create new object or not, stuff like that. So basically it will be more like a streamlined and and more control, so make sure everything will goes at a plan, and give us like a peace of mind when we later jam or like doing a concert.
So hello Lucio, hello everybody, welcome. We're ready now to jam, and I'm going to re-paraphrase that by saying Strongbear is amazing, and Strongbear added a ton of new code this week to make the program, well, more in a way safer for jamming, and also especially when you're playing a piece. I notice that even when I'm playing the piece, I get nervous. I push buttons, and all of a sudden a menu pops up or whatever. And so these new modes, concert mode and jam mode, which we're going to use this morning for the first time, really, they make the system a lot more reliable in those two contexts. What we noticed when we were jamming at Berklee with a bunch of students, we have a high school jam planned. There's a workshop right after ICMC where there'll be 12 students, high school kids, let's throw headsets on everyone, let's all jam. And every one of them was just pushing buttons, like anyone normally does, and creating hundreds of objects. And so now jam mode lets you say, okay, you can only make two. And what Stronger has done that's so beautiful is when the jammer creates randomly more objects, it fades out the previous ones. And so it's very elegant how it doesn't all of a sudden prevent you from feeling like you're doing anything. It's really elegant. So there's a ton of elegant new solutions that really will make this our experience at ICMC, where we're doing a workshop, all of these fantastic alumni from Berkeley that are joining us today. Are going to be hosting small little mini jam sessions during the workshop. We have a giant public jam session at the Raytheon Amphitheater on Thursday night. We're opening that event at 10 p.m., where we're going to actually put headsets on people in the audience and let them just start jamming with us. And so jam mode will help make all of that much more elegant. And then when we play the piece, which we're going to rehearse in a few minutes, well, we're going to start by trying jam mode, but when we rehearse the piece in just a few minutes, we'll hit concert mode, and all of you who've been rehearsing with me one-on-one over the past few weeks will see how that's maybe changed things or just gives you a lot more confidence as you're playing and rehearsing. So I think we should get going. Now, Randy Roos is joining us today. And Randy, I think you said you got your headset, you've got Zero Tier running, and so you might even like to try jamming with us in this first part of this session for 15 minutes or so. We'll do like a 10-minute jam, and then we'll start rehearsing the piece. Do you have your headset there?
I do.
Okay, so we're going to explain to you what you need to do. You'll need to launch Zero Tier when it's time. You'll launch Zero. I'll give you the steps first, then we can try it. You'll launch Zero Tier. You'll turn it on. Now, if you did set the ID correctly to join strongbear, typing those 16 hex characters, added the ID, and I think you said you did, then you should show up.
Okay.
But what you're going to need to do is you're going to potentially, when you launch CsoundMeta and become a client, for the first time, you might need to type my correct IP address because I'm the host. And so the address that you're going to type in there is going to be 172.22.2.22.
Okay.
And if you join as that client, you should show up with your name in this world and you can jam with us. So why don't we all try and get into the jam for a second? What do you think, Strongbear? Can we try jamming right now?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to hear Randy is ready to jam. Yeah, so excited about that.
I'm going to switch to sharing, and I'm going to share my cast. So I'm sharing, and I've got my system back on. And we're looking kind of again at my studio in pass-through mode. Let's see what's going on with my system here. I might already be a host. No, I haven't launched CsoundMeta yet. So I'm about to launch and become the host. Okay, so I am now signing in as host. Okay, I'm the host. And I can quickly go back to pass-through mode, but things are running. And in fact, it looks like someone has already joined me. Who is that? That's Wen. Hi, Wen. Here we go. So Wen has joined from Sunnyvale, California.
Yes.
So we have a West Coast, East Coast, and then I'm in kind of in the middle.
Okay, and there someone else has just joined us. That's Zio, and Strongbear has joined from Ohio. And I keep moving out so that I can get away from you.
CsoundMeta Quest 3S. Who's that?
That's Wen.
Wen. Hey. Right here.
Well, what I get to do is I get to move the whole gang of you wherever I want in my room. So I'm going to go over here in the room, and I'm going to center and put you all over on this side so that I can play from this side.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, we're wondering if Randy has been able to join us yet.
Yeah, let me put the IP address in the chat.
Yep, Wen already did, I think.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Forgive me, but I don't understand where do I enter that address?
Well, first of all, if you've turned Zero Tier on.
Oh, okay, so I should enter it in that?
No, you just turn 0 to your on. So making sure you flip the switch so it's running.
Yeah.
Good. Now launch CsoundMeta. And it's going to ask you to join as a client. Strongbear, you can take it from here. When Randy joins as a client.
So once you launch CsoundMeta, there's I think 4 options. The last option is client. So you click on that button, and it will show up like the IP address. So you change the IP address to 172.22.
Well, wait a second, Strongbear. He has to point his laser at that text field in order to retype it, and a keyboard will appear, right?
Yeah, right. So you point at the IP address and trigger, and then it will show up like a keyboard for you to type.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I think it's already filled like 172.22.2.3, right?
That's what it says.
Yeah, so you change the last one, like from 3 to 22, and that's it.
Okay, let's see. So if I back.
This is kind of funny to see all of your hands here hanging out. Now, is Bethany logged in yet? Evelyn's here as CsoundMeta Bear. Hi, Evelyn.
Emery is here.
Emery's here.
Yeah. So Emery and Zio and I was like, we're at the same location, like same position. So maybe like Zio and Emery could like move a little bit. So.
So Randy, how's it going? There he is. It says Randy and Michelle. Oh, nice, Randy.
Wow.
So basically you convinced your friend or partner, we should buy this Quest 3. I'll put your name on there. I have one too, Randy. The one I bought for my wife, Colette, it's called CSound Her. Because I said, well, okay, honey, I bought you one. So Randy, you're here. Good. Okay, so let's start jamming. I'm going to pick a jam for us.
Oh,
I'm looking at, and I'll even turn it so you can all see it. Gen Jam 3 plus 2 blue plus 2 violets. This one has some drums and things like, oh no, we're going to pick drum pal chord TO2 in C. So I've picked this. And we've started this jam. Now, all of you know how to, with your left hand, grab an object and pull it to you and play. All of you know how to create new objects. And you can each create, well, let me get jam mode going. So now I'm in jam mode, so you can all just only create a couple of objects. And it is true that you can take an object, and once you strike it, like look at this teal factory object. This is a nice melodic object. Maybe Randy, you might like to play that by hitting it bip, 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 like a percussion instrument. There you go. There you go. Nice. Nice. Now, you do remember, everyone, you can bring out new objects by pressing X and Y at the same time. So I just brought out this low growl, pewter. Doesn't sound like loud enough to me. I'm going to get rid of it and bring out something else.
So X and Y to bring out an orb, and then Y and B to create like a classics, and then X and B to create an effect. We have a couple of combos for you to quickly create new
Just putting
objects.
a few things away. Someone has fire out here now, which is kind of nice. Or it's called rain. I think Evelyn is playing it. Now I want to remind all of you, I'm looking at this object, a palette with all of these little pills around it. Each of those is another preset. You can point at it and have it start and then play that drum loop. You could push A and B and it would randomly jump to the next object in the circle, let's say, and load up that sound to play that. So whenever a palette appears, you really have a lot of options that are kind of family related. Now, Randy, that's right, you're sizing it for volume, but to bring it to you to hit, you need to get it under the heads of your mallets there. There you go. And there you go. That's you now changing that weird drum loop of mine. There you go. And shaping it. Nice.
So Wen has a question about like how do we move without leaving our boundary. So I think so you need to create a new boundary, a bigger boundary. So leave your boundary. It will ask you for creating a new one, and then you make a bigger one.
I'm going to turn us down a little. What were you suggesting, Strong Bear?
So Wen has a question about like how to move to a different position without leaving the boundary. But like basically we need to create a bigger boundary by moving out of the boundary, and then it will ask you for creating a new one, and then just create a bigger one.
So then you can make your own new boundary. So hit the wall and then it'll ask you to redraw, I guess.
Right.
Good. I'm going to pick a different jam. Right, it's a little mellower. Or maybe it's not even a jam. Let's see. I'll pick one. Here we go. Susan and I were making one the other day. So here's got some nice chords. Some of the objects are even silver. When you see an object that's silver, it means it's not making any sound yet until you make it louder. So when you make it louder, you can then play it, right? Now you hear that object, right? So we've just got this chord pad running in the background here. I'm going to turn it into a wanderer and send it around so it spatializes. I see this thing way out here, these clouds. So I grabbed them and pulled them in by pointing at them and using my grip to pull it from the heavens back into my hands. This teal is a melodic object again, so I can play it, right? I'll turn the volume up for everyone. All right? And this crackle thing, yeah, there you go. I'll hand that one to you, Randy. Bingo. This crackle is kind of a glitchy object, and so all I'm doing with it now is spatializing. Now, I'm noticing, and I want you to notice, that one object is flying around like crazy. And so I'd like to bring that home. So I'm going to hold A and X together, and the objects are going to start flying towards me, and I can kind of stop them by pointing at them or catch them in the sky as they're coming to me. Boom. And then move them around out of the way so they're not flying like crazy or, going crazy. So it's a little bit of a game of catch, but you do that again with your grips when objects are flying around, and you can move them at a slower rate or a faster rate or whatever, right? What you're seeing is some of our new worlds, and this world, what's happening and why you're seeing them is when I go to my world settings here, I told it change every 120 seconds. So it's randomly picking from any of our worlds. Now, if you wanted to pick a special one, like let's say we want to be out in the old West instead. So here we are. So now it'll just sit us here in, um, an episode of Gunsmoke, and just let us throw our objects around here. This would be more appropriate for a Doctor Who show. And let me see if we're still in jam mode. Yeah, we are. And again, if you who are jamming would like to try creating your own object, I think your menu still works. So if you push down your hamburger menu, you can pick an instrument from instruments like I'm looking at now. And you could say, well, let me pick a classic, and let me pick something like this composition by Dave Seidel called Second Sleep. Let me make it louder. Let me close the classic for now. And let me just throw that around and let it float around the room, creating a nice little ambient or tonal ambient piece for us. So you can pick specifically from a list when you're jamming, or you can randomly have them show up by holding your thumb on simultaneously on the X and Y button. But maybe you really do want to pick an object from the list, right? Now, Strongbear did something very cool for me this week. He set it up so that I could quickly switch from pass-through mode to the worlds. So if I'm bumping into something, I can kind of jump around my room a little bit and reorient myself that way. And so that's kind of what I've just done. Now, I have a feeling by doing that 6 times in a row, I might have just crashed us. Hi, everyone. So let me try hosting again and starting us up again, and we'll jam a little more. Oh, wait, let's not. Let me ask if any of you have any questions, right? I'm going to quit this for a second, and I'm going to come back to the desk here. We'll take a break for a second. We were just jamming. Some of us were in control. Some of us were in more control, less control. Maybe some of you have some questions or suggestions even now. So why don't we take a minute to just get some feedback from you about what was happening there with the jam. And I'm happy. I think one of our collaborators and team players, Tyler, he's recovering now, and so I invited Tyler. I said, Tyler, come, but don't play today. Just hang out. So even Tyler, who's watching us on the stream, might have some suggestions, like maybe you should. And so we are always looking for your ideas and your feedback. Let's take a minute right now, and then we're going to practice the piece. But what are some of the questions? Wen had a great question about resetting her boundary. And when you need to create clear boundaries, you understand what I'm saying? I'm talking philosophically here. I'm not talking about C7 and the metaverse at all. Establish some clear boundaries.
I understand.
Now, so what suggestions or questions do any of you have about what we were just kind of doing?
Just one thing I noticed, and I'm sure it's just a kink because it's Zoom, but just so you guys know, I noticed that on Strong Bear, when I was looking at your stream, everything was very smooth, but when I was looking from your screen, it was super laggy and glitchy. So just I know since it's coming in what 10, 11 days, just to be aware and make sure that when you're streaming for the audience that it doesn't lag out. And because on Strong Bears it was quite smooth. So it was just something I noticed from the outside.
Now, when you say that, and this is Tyler speaking, Tyler, are you noticing that when you're jumping to my Zoom or when you're...
Yeah. So it was when
Yeah.
it was from Strong Bear Zoom, it was super smooth. And it was just on your Zoom that it was lagging and glitching. I'm guessing 'cause that was because you're the host. maybe overloading the computer or something like that.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys probably have that worked out, but it was just a little FYI.
Thank you. Yeah,
Uh,
a colleague of mine pointed out that when we were even live streaming, that on one of the stream there was a kind of glitchy. It was breaking up one time as well. So um,
Yeah, on that one, I couldn't really watch the stream from you, Dr. B, but I could watch it from Strong Bear.
uh-huh.
um, so you mean like you could watch this from YouTube or
No, this is just in Zoom. I'm just watching through Zoom.
in Zoom? But like we are on the same Zoom, so
I know that's why it was kind of weird. So when I was clicking on your under your name, Strong Bear, and you were like having a live cast of Dr. B, it was smooth. But when I was clicking on Dr. B's, since he was like the main speaker, it was super laggy and glitchy, and you couldn't really see what was going on.
oh really?
You could see a
Okay.
little bit. It was like super slow and like just laggy.
Oh, okay.
But it was
Yeah.
not laggy on yours, which was weird.
So maybe it's better to like to pin my video.
Sounds like Zoom magic or Zoom magic to me.
Yeah, it might be a Zoom thing. It was just to let you guys
Thank
know.
you.
I know you
Yeah.
guys are going to be doing the live streaming. It might have nothing to do with the actual keynote, but
When we do the keynote and the concert, we'll be just projecting from my computer right on the main screen in the concert halls. So I don't think it'll be so much an issue, but I will be bringing you remotely in from Paris and Strongbear remotely in from Ohio. And so, but the Zoom now of just speaking or even seeing my students that's pretty stable. So I would be switching from the hey everyone watch the piece to hey let's talk to Tyler and Strongbear on Zoom. And so but we'll practice that. We do have a couple
yeah,
of
I mean,
rehearsals.
the problem, yeah, probably wouldn't happen as an issue, but it might just be smart to have one rehearsal where it's like recorded how it would be live streamed
Yeah,
on your
good.
thing just to make sure there's none of that lag that would happen.
Very good, very good. Thank you, Tyler. Any other thoughts, suggestions, questions?
So
Andy has a thought, suggestion, question. Go.
Yeah, this doesn't have to do with the jam. It just has to do with instruments. I'm wondering if how difficult it would be to make some instruments that just produce a single hit sound, like different drum sounds, things where you could play percussion grooves or bass line grooves or something with several objects and hit them, as if it was a mallet instrument, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Right.
Just individual sounds.
Yep, coming at you. So what I've been doing is I'll definitely put together a movement for you that has those. They're there. They're actually there. So and you are what you're partly suggesting to me too is when I drop you guys into a big jam with a bunch of things all making a lot of sound, that might not be the best way to start a jam for beginners. So a jam for beginner, so I need to really structure some of these movements that really do just give you just that, just the percussion thing that plays single notes. You got it. There are some there, and I need a lot more of them. I also need a lot more generative drum loops that are all at the same tempo. You know what I mean? So I need to just the library needs modification and expansion for sure. So you bet. But already, Randy, if you're even just messing around, if you're just opening up in scores and just picking one, in each category, teal or rust, you're going to find some of those presets really do exactly what you want. And so you, now that it's working, can save as pardon me, under a movement, your own movement of just here's my 5 melodic instruments or 4, So I've actually been encouraging my students to start doing that to help prepare their own grooves. I think the cat wants in on the Zoom. Camera cat.
Right. But yeah, okay. Thank you.
Good, thank you. And thanks for that advice. And yeah, I'm definitely going to have that ready before my workshop. So thank you. Because I really want to start, I might start a workshop by saying, hey, we're going to play a piece, play some music, but then, and if I even have my students, we can jam because we know some of the instruments. But I agree with you completely that okay, so let me teach you how to do this. I think I really need, here's just one instrument that plays notes. Try that. Here's one instrument that plays, etc. So coming at you. And I think even Evelyn asked for that too a little while ago, where Evelyn was inviting a few of her friends to play, and it was like, what am I doing? So yeah,
One thing I found I was having fun with was taking some of the ones, like some of the instruments, and going into the sound settings and turning off retrigger.
Yep.
So then it would just be a single event. So I was having fun with that anyway.
So then thanks again. Maybe you just saved me a whole night of redesigning sounds. All I need to do is go into all my generative instruments and turn retriggering off and save presets as single, blah, 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 single, event, whatever, cloud event instead of cloud. Yeah, good. I'll do it. Thank you. Anyone else have any thoughts, questions? When?
Sorry, I was just gonna bounce off what Randy said about like the drums. I feel like for jams, we should limit like drum instruments or like limit how many we could generate at the same time. So like I think I was also like creating some instruments and I got kicked out of CsoundMeta. Yeah.
That's a special mode. I asked strongbear to put that into jam mode. Delete when. It's not there. It only shows up in my menu, but it's like, after 3 April. No, but strongbear, that would be a nice feature of jam mode that you can only make, and I don't know exactly though, but we'll work on something like that. You know what I mean? Because a number of the instruments have drum capabilities, and so, but maybe you're right to say you can only make one F looper or two F or whatever. So I'll look into that, or even again reorganize and structure my library after all this, where those distinctions are clearer, so they can be selected exclusively or limited or whatever. So it might require me really redesigning the library a little bit, but I actually love your idea that, okay, just one drum track at a time.
Per jam.
Yeah, per jam. Yeah, good.
That'll also make it easier for you if you want any kind of tempo.
Yeah, tempo syncing.
If you want tempo syncing.
Yeah.
I know for this, that's not as important, but you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, it is important for me right now. I must now. By the way, I've played in rock bands and pop bands and wedding bands and jazz bands, and I love a great beat. And all my students make amazing beats. And I do own many drum machines. I don't program them, but I own. Now, I kept buying them, but not ever using them, right? That was my history with drum machines from the 80s, from before many of you were born, right? But I am a fan of Charles Ives, and I am a fan of multiple percussion at the same time and all that. And it's not because I can't play a beat or dance or love a beat, but I really do like complex, I like that. And so part of the spirit of what I'm creating in these compositions is a little more kind of chaotic rhythm, which you'll hear in the piece that we're about to rehearse right now. So shall we rehearse the piece? Because I know I lose Wen in an hour, and I lose maybe Bethany, maybe already. I think Bethany might have stopped. Bethany might still be here. I don't know. But why don't we try rehearsing the piece? I have expanded it a little bit based on rehearsals that I did with Wen the other night. It was funny because I was playing with Wen and I had this nice really short version of the piece, and it was so short that whenever we started doing something nice, it went on to something else. And it was like, So in Vienna, the piece was 15 minutes long, and that's a little too long for my keynote, or a little too long for Berkeley for this. So I cut it way too short. I think I made it like 7 minutes, and it was just rushed. So now I've expanded that. So if we'll play today, I'll pull up concert mode. I'll put us into the B-top shorter version 2, which is now should have the right room for us to all play it. Let's try playing the piece, okay? And seeing what we can do. I've got my headset back on. I'm going to share again. Hang on. And I'm going to share just the casting. Okay. And I'm going to kind of back up and make sure my zero tier is on. Then I'm going to also turn off my talking mic when we play. Zero tier is still on. I'm going to launch CsoundMeta and become the host, and then you can join to, and we'll start the piece. So I'm now the host. I'm in the Old West. Someone has joined. That would be Evelyn. Thank you. Hi, Evelyn. And Wen has joined. Yeah. Now, all of you, when we do the piece, you'll be starting in watcher mode. So ultimately, you'll push both joysticks in to go into watcher mode in a minute. Emery has joined. Good. Good. Yeah, I think that's, I'm wondering who Dr.B sound is, but I think that's Strong Bear wearing a Quest 3S. It shows Dr.B sound. We need to be able to change our names maybe or something. So we'll see, ultimately. Okay. Excellent. I have put us in concert mode. It looks like almost everyone is here. Zio is here. Okay. Why don't we try playing the piece? So I'm going to switch to composition. What I've chosen for all of you is Boston ICMC shorter version 2. Okay, welcome. So here we go. You're already, when we start, going into watcher mode. So double, point your sticks down at the ground and push in both joysticks. So Evelyn, there you go, out of there. Okay, it has begun. I would be the first one to come back on. When I came out of watcher mode there, it came into a menu. When you come into a scene, come in with your sticks pointing down, okay? All of you, yeah? And now we're playing. You can grab one of the objects, pull it to you, trigger it, make it louder. This opening scene is meant to be a little mellow and pretty soft. When we're playing this as a piece, I will mainly be watching and mixing a little bit. When you see a jewel appear, those are mainly for kind of throwing around or spatializing. They're not really for re-triggering. When you see a palette appear like this one, Rust Factory, that's a melodic instrument. You need to make a melody with that. La 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 la. And when you're building a melodic line, everyone, 3-note motive, 4-note motive, don't keep hitting it. Ba ba ba, ba 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 ba, ba ba ba, and let it go. Shape it. Look at that. This Rust Factory is awesome when you play through it. Now we're at the end of movement 1. Normally I will sing here or hum. So, too loud, whoever did that. Right? Listen to the balance. Now we're black. You go into watcher mode because the movement is over. And you wait for the next movement to begin. Next movement has begun. Do not come back until I do. I'll bring up the sound, which I've done. I'm back. Now some of you could come in and play. Second movement is more melodic. See these palettes? So again, 3-note motives. Very nice when beep-a-bep-a-bum. And again, remember, these are spatial. So you could pick one and put it to your right, put it in the mix, put it to your left and play it, put it down below you and play it. Right? Grab rust, breath. Listen to this. Ooh. Ooh. Right, nice. Sparse, but we're really supposed to be playing duets and trios with each other at this point. I'm supposed to mainly be looking around. All right, now we get to this maze. Maybe there are creatures. Or maybe there's definitely some sense of humanity here, but I haven't seen it yet. Right? I'm hearing maybe a fire burning. Right? And then I kind of hear someone eating lunch. This crunching sound. And all of these sounds, when you sweep through them, morph. Ooh. When you find something that's a jewel, you just throw it. Now we're at the end of movement 2. The monks have started chanting. Don't make them too loud. That's this terror loop. Leave it alone. I'll probably float it around. And I see the temple, and I begin to see this Territon motet. Black screen, we're fading out. Your mallets have gone away because you've gone to watcher mode, and you're waiting for the next movement. So, Zio, you didn't go to watcher mode. Good. Next movement has begun. You're waiting to come back. You're not back yet. Right? Now the drums are just doing their thing. Now you're back. And now we get to the Boulanger favorite complex polyrhythm. And so things glitch out of time. Oh, a new factory. Excellent. Things were a little crazy. Turbulence. Something's weird going on. And wait. Right? We see this kind of planet or something going on in the Grand Canyon, at least. Looks like some kind of base, some kind of Trumpian space laser. And someone's firing it, right? And I think they're firing it at New York City. So Now things get crazy. Things fly around. Things get thrown around. Things get struck and hit. Right? Things explode. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Exactly. Good, good, good. Remember that when you're hearing something, you can also grab and spatialize it. Wait, calm down. Maybe there's hope. Things get a little more mellow. Uh-oh, I might have frozen. There we go. So mellow out. These things, just let them fly, right? And don't go too crazy in here. Just fly those guys. Things get even mellower. Chill out. Maybe there's still hope. Maybe we haven't destroyed the whole planet with those space lasers. Maybe some of our underground bases are still in shape. Right? And then, uh-oh, they're not. All hell breaks loose again. So now, craziness again. Boom, 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 boom. Crazy. Strike. Fireworks. Sizzle. Grabbing the jewels. Throwing them all over the place. Boom. Pull something to you and fire it off. Throw these guys out of here. Beautiful. Boom. Boom. Craziness. Spin it over your head. Pan it. Grab it. And then throw it. Right? Boom. 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 Uh-oh. Hold on. We mellowed out. This is a melodic instrument again. A little moan, a little sigh. Is it the wind or did something survive? Right? And then we see that maybe something did. Some of these cities on some other planet are still maybe here. Right? Good. Exactly. Soft, mellow. Gets even more mellow here. With a little vocal.
So once you see an object with the stripes like this one, it is a vocal like live effects processing.
It's an audio effect.
Yes. So all these with stripes, I made the change to the UI of this, so we can differentiate between like normal or and like effects processing.
Sort of the ending stuff. Now we're fading, but now this is the end of the piece, so we're not exactly fading. End credits will come up. Bethany will be playing recorder into the system. You should still be making sounds softly. Credits to the people who are performing remotely or live. The end credits will come up. Things will fade out. Okay? So, and we'll go to white screen or blue screen or green screen or whatever. So, what I want to do is go to pass-through mode. Okay. You all understand the story a little better. Yes? The pacing is a little better, I think. When, don't you think that gave us enough time?
A little bit, but it's still the faster version, no?
It's still faster. I'll make it a little slower, don't worry. I'm trying to improve this version instead of the slightly longer one I have because this one has all those black screens as cues to fade out and go to watcher mode. Whereas the other one didn't have those. But I'm still stretching it. What I would like to do, I think we still have time. Well, you said you have to go probably in 9 minutes or even now, right, Wen? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd love to play it again, but we will play it without Wen, who's complaining about the length anyway. She wants it longer, but she's leaving. How's that? That makes
Oh
sense.
no.
I got a question.
Yes,
Could I join and just be there as a watcher?
absolutely. And you're going to love it because you'll be in the worlds.
Yeah. I don't quite understand watcher mode.
Okay, so all you need to do is in both hands, you have your joysticks, right? And if you, those are also push buttons. So if you push them both in, you're in watcher mode. And it just turns your sticks off. I would love you to, because we're going to play again.
I'd love that.
And you'll hear it better, and you'll be able to look around, and that'll be a blast. We'd love it too.
I have one quick question,
Yes.
having nothing to do with this. I was trying to play my guitar through an effect, and I found that the mic on my Quest would only respond to my voice. It seemed to not even hear my guitar. Anyway.
Yeah, good question. Because like the mic in the Quest is really good at picking up your voice and ignoring everything else. So in order to play your guitar, you may need to have an external mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I've done, and I love these things, is I'll send you a link, but it's like at Amazon, they were like $20. It gave me 2 wireless mics and a little, I want to unplug it, and I don't know where my other one is. It's charging here somewhere in my collection of junk that's hanging from this here. But the point is, it's got a little Wi-Fi receiver that's USB-C. You plug into the headset, and you have 2 wireless mics that it recognizes independent of each other. So you can just clip one onto wherever, and that's what lets you kind of sing and play in with an external instrument. I've also purchased, again, like for $29 at Amazon, a couple of little condenser mics that work perfectly too, USB-C. The secret with any of the mics is it can't have a volume knob or it can't have an external headphone jack. So many of them think that's a feature. Like, wow, we'll give you a mic so you can podcast and you can use the headphone jack to listen with headphones or put it in your mixer or something like that. Whenever the Quest sees the headphone jack, it stops using the mic as an external mic because it thinks you want to podcast with your mind, whatever. Just like the problem you're having. But we discovered if you just get a mic, I'll show you the external mic here. So this guy is called the HyperX, and he didn't cost much of anything, this little HyperX. And this HyperX mic, fantastic. USB-C, quite a long cable came with it. It was like $20, $29 Amazon. And you can sit that anywhere, play into it, sing into it, and it's in CsoundMeta. Cool. So the wireless ones are cool, and that one is cool too. And if I take 1 extra minute here and just snoop through my things that I'm charging everywhere, I should find that mic dangling from somewhere. Oh, where are you? You know, right after this session, it's gonna hit me over the head, you know. But
I don't mean to take too much time on this.
But it's this. I just won't reach you. If I unplug it, it will.
Not to worry.
It'll disable my thing. But it's cool. It's just a tiny little stick of a piece of Trident bubble gum. It's just that small. Sticks right in the headset and receives 2 wireless microphones. It's for doing interviews and podcasts or whatever. And so I'm wearing one now that I'm talking out of. And, here's the second one, which I could put anywhere in the room, and that one would come into the Quest. So that's the answer. But, yeah.
What is it called, that mic, the clip-on?
I'll make sure I send the info to everyone and post a link on it.
Perfect.
You know, the name isn't written right on it here. And yeah, sorry. But I will make sure I send the link to everyone. And it's like I said, I couldn't believe how affordable. I bought 3 sets of them because I really wanted, and I bought a hub so I could put 6 or 7 of them around a room, Randy, for my string quartet. So we'll see. But that's kind of what we're working towards. But I found this guy. Now, you can only imagine that I ordered a number of mics on Amazon that didn't work right because they all were the newest, latest version with a headphone jack. And I was like, oh, wow. And then I've got the previous ones without the headphone jack, and they work perfectly. So even Strongbear might know the name of. Didn't Strongbear I send you a set of the little wireless ones?
Yeah, I got the pair of wireless and also that HyperX.
Yeah, but do you know the wireless name? Do you have them still in the box? I don't know where I put my.
Oh, okay. It is Mini Mic Pro. Mini Mic Pro. Not sure if you could see that. It's filter out.
There's the box. Yeah, there it is.
Mini Mic Pro.
The cool thing about that is the little thing that sticks in your headset is tiny and doesn't weigh anything, and that gives you 2 wireless mics that are pretty great. So we're loving that. And I know that Emery has been plugging his trumpet in, and he's been using, what mic have you been using with that, Emery?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I think the Quest will work with any class compliant audio interface. Sorry, I've been up all night. I think it will work with every class compliant audio interface, and so I think you can just use it. Just automatically selects the input and the output if you connect to it. So if you like are using a Scarlett 2i2, like if I was gonna play guitar, I would go through the Scarlett 2i2 and just have that go into the USB-C, but it's just gonna send the output to it too. So then you could just plug it into your like monitors or like headphones. I feel like, but then also, I guess the mic is cool because it only sends an input and not an output. So then I guess it would use the
That's the point. But what you're saying, I guess you've done further experiments, is you then take the out, so you're not listening in your headset anymore.
Yeah, I'm listening through my monitors, which I honestly prefer that depending on the situation, just because I feel like the monitors like sound good.
Of course they do. Yeah. So I have to experiment a little more with that too, Emery. Thanks for the feedback. So that's really, you're saying use your audio interface and go to your house system, your mixer or your speakers, and you won't hear it in the headset at all.
Yeah, but then I guess that mic system that you're describing seems a lot more efficient for like
Could be.
live stuff if you're like out and like moving around and
Yeah,
stuff.
you'll see. We're going to do some of that in our rehearsals next week. So, because I want to get your trumpet in, I want to get Bethany's recorder in. Randy will have even a lot more answers for you next week, and maybe even a few demo videos too. How about if we play the piece one more time? Does that sound good? Zio, you were around for a little while. You can do that? Good?
Yes, that's good.
Let's try playing the piece, and Randy will get to join us and watch, which will be great.
So Mr. Dow trying to get into the Zoom, but he could not because I think the Zoom link is only work for like people with Berkeley credentials.
No, my Zoom allows anyone from anywhere in the world to join.
Oh, okay. So I don't know, but like
I just saw him on the Zoom a second ago.
oh really?
I think I just saw him pop in, but I may be wrong.
I'm watching this from London, so yes.
Oh, Javier!
Javier.
Right on.
Yeah, let's play. Let's play.
Yes, we're going to make some music right now. Okay. So, welcome. Uh, this is my good friend and amazing composer, violist, performer, Javier Garavaglia. And Javier is going to be at ICMC premiering a new work. Javier is going to be at the New York Electronic Music Conference after that, premiering a number of pieces. And so we need to get you jamming in the metaverse too. So hopefully you'll be at the workshop and all of that. Looks like Bethany is here, and others are here. We're in patcher mode now. And I'm about to make sure we're in concert mode. We are. I'm going to start the composition right now.
And
I'm going to turn off my wireless mic, so I'm not going to talk anymore out of the house, but I am going to sing into the end of each movement. And I'm going to encourage you that when you get to the end of each movement, there's a live mic that comes up, and so you can hum or sing into your quest to add a kind of vocal part, okay? And Bethany, if you want it, you could try picking up your recorder and even playing into the end. We won't hear it, but you at least will, and then you'll start to report back to me, hey, yeah, the recorder sounds pretty good in here at the end of each movement. Sound good?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, I'm turning off my mic now so I don't ruin the piece.
and share your screen.
Oh, sorry. Good. Hang on. I'm glad you reminded me. I'm going to hit share. I'm going to tell it to share the cast. And I'm going to turn off the mic. mic is back.
Did you try to do any vocal processing? Because I didn't hear any.
I was singing correctly. I didn't have this little wireless mic on. But we did crash there again. Now, for some reason, Zio was making a call or sending me some kind of message, and so it could or joining. I was getting messages from Zio.
I didn't send any message. I was force quitted.
Okay, but then you tried to join again, or
Yeah, I tried to join the CsoundMeta again, and I joined, and yeah, but I didn't send any messages or anything.
But you couldn't join again, right? Like once you got kicked out, could you join again or not?
Yeah, I could join again, and after like 10 seconds or like 20 seconds, it just everybody just
Oh, okay.
stopped.
Yeah. So
he crashed the system.
so when you join again, was it like, did you see things like smoothly, or it was like laggy, or what happened
Something smoothly.
for about 10
I
seconds?
didn't do anything. I was in the watcher mode, and like it during nothing, and it just force quitted me. So I tried to join again without interrupting everybody, and then it just crashed everything.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure around like what happened when our client joined late, and we see this problem happening quite a lot, and it's pretty difficult to reproduce, because like on my own I couldn't reproduce that. It's only happened like when we got like many people from multiple places, and it also depends on the network condition. So yeah, maybe after this live stream, let's get together and try to knock it down.
Good. Yeah, I'm like, so what's interesting is Zio said that they did not try sending me a message, but in fact, my headset said, receive call, getting a message from, it was almost like that had gotten turned on or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a surprise to me. But I'm wondering two things. First of all, you did not hear me singing for some reason. You're not supposed to, but you didn't hear me singing. So let's do a couple of things. One, Randy, were you able to watch as watcher?
Totally. It was amazing. It was incredible.
So different, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, well, it means I might try to, maybe we have a way of just turning headsets into just watchers and at least handing them out to a few special guests. I think Tom Mackover needs to have a headset on, or John Chowning at least, or something. So, but we'll see. Because I will have extra headsets that we aren't using in the performance, and it might be nice to just have a few watchers for the fun, for the joy of it. Glad that worked, Randy.
The only thing was that I kept getting pass-through things.
Yeah, well, me too, and only because we're crowded in here, and the clients are stepping on each other. So that won't happen so much, but I was getting more pass-through than normal myself. So I kept moving to try to stop that from happening, but yeah, so you were seeing a little of my piano or a little of my guzheng, or yeah. So
I was seeing the environment too, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
so that's pass through is where like people stay because that's represent their so we don't have an avatar for them, so that's like a kind of a ghost of a player. So if you see that pass through, it's like that where the player were planning.
Yeah, so even you as a watcher maybe could have backed up your chair a little and they might have disappeared. But yeah.
Yeah.
Bethany, question for you. Were you able to play the recorder?
I played it, but it lagged when I started the processing. But I was able to play it to have like a little experiment with it.
You heard a little bit of an effect on it.
The flanger, yeah.
Oh, good. Great. Well, I'm looking forward to us doing that in person next week and really refining it a little bit, seeing what the best mic is, where the place needs to be, thinking a little bit about some of what Emery was suggesting as well. Good, good, good. Anyone else with any thoughts, questions, suggestions?
I typed all my thoughts in the chat, so if you have time, you can check that out.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna copy of the Zio feedback, and then I'm gonna post it in the Discord server and under ideas and feedback, so that we could look at it. Yeah, from Zio. Oh.
Evelyn, you're starting to learn the piece better.
Of course. And one question is like, when we're performing or jamming, are we going to connecting speaker to the headset or just hearing from the headset?
Just in the headsets. When we're playing, you're only going to hear locally. I'm going to be connected to the loudspeakers and to the big projector with a cable. So you'll all be wireless, and you'll be hearing what you're doing inside, which means you won't hear like Bethany playing at the end, and you won't hear when I'm singing. But you certainly can hum at those sections yourself to add a little texture and make it a little more beautiful for yourselves. And so I would encourage that when we get to the ends of those movements. Now, what some of you I noticed were getting better at was, let me get into watcher mode, at the end of a movement or not. And also, playing, maybe pointing down. So although you see an object up, and if we're pointing lasers at each other, for the audience watching a movie, maybe it's a little more distracting than it would need to be. So if you put an orb below you or at waist level and you're playing down there, it could still be a more beautiful cinematic experience for everyone a little bit. So be a little more conscientious about where you're putting the objects. Secondly, when an object is a generative object, meaning it's playing a chord progression or you hear it doing a drum pattern or whatever, those are nice to just grab and slowly move, because it's going to pan in your head, but it's also going to pan in the mix. And so that's kind of nice. Now, I did find one object was flying like crazy and I couldn't even catch it. So that will happen probably, and we're just going to let that happen. A few times that it's happened when I'm rehearsing, it has been a really nice spatial effect, but mostly they can be distracting. And I think Bethany reported that when she was showing some of her relatives the system and the objects were all flying at them, that it caused great sense of fear, like bats or bugs were chasing me or creatures. And so I think it can have that effect on first timers. So, but we've controlled it a lot, but still I wasn't able to catch that one at all. Normally a new movement that one will go away and the other ones will come up, but I'll be setting up the objects a little bit better around us when I continue to refine the piece, so that, they won't all come in. Right now, when I'm rehearsing, I put them in front of me so I can play them. But that's not how I'm going to space them out ultimately for the final version of the piece. So that will make a difference too. And also, I think, Strongbear, what you were suggesting is you might all create a boundary that's quite large, even if you're sitting and not moving too much in it, because then the objects will kind of have more room to move. And also you might not bump into each other as much. I may be wrong about that. What are some of your thoughts about setting up an initial space as an individual player? What do you think, Strong Bear? What do you think I should
Well,
do?
the boundary that you set and the boundary of the object flying are like unrelated. So you could set your boundary as big as possible, so you could move around like freely and avoid those like the pass through effects like Randy just mentioned earlier.
Now, is that up to me to set as the host, or should each individual set their own as well?
So each individual set their own boundary as big as they want to. It doesn't matter. Like
so that's very important, because I think some of you might have just stationary boundaries set or whatever, and so you're not able to kind of move or whatever, and that could be helpful.
Yeah, I don't think station boundary is is a good idea, because like when we play remotely, if we set like station boundary, then everyone will be at the exact same location. So yeah, so like a couple people sitting at the same spot, and then you will see all of that pass through cover up, because other people like sitting right at where you are sitting.
So you need to set up a boundary even as you begin, and you can set the boundary even before you start playing CsoundMeta. You go to the controls, quick settings, there's a boundary, and you can just draw a nice big boundary for yourself.
Yeah, draw like as big as you can, so later on, like if someone cover up your view, you could move out to see it better.
Sure, too. Yeah. What? I would love to try playing the piece. Oh, Zio has a question, and then we'll play the piece again, I hope, and maybe we'll try setting big boundaries, even if you are just sitting in the same place, and see if that makes a difference.
Do you think at some point it would be possible for you to, as the host, move people in the world so they're not close to each other, so we have our own boundaries, but like you can position us so it's different angles, or is that too complicated? I mean, I know it's probably way too complicated for this particular event, but in the future that might be helpful.
Yeah. That is doable, but like we need to differentiate like between the co-location and then remote. We need somehow to identify whether we are in co-location or we are playing remotely. Because if you could move people around, then in co-location, when you move people around, then their controllers and the object stuff like that will not in sync with like their their actual like physical body. So
yeah, okay, yeah, never mind.
So I have a suggestion. So maybe there can be two modes. One is the remote mode and one is the actual mode for we are meeting together in a room. So if for remote, I think it will be easier for everyone to just be able to move their own position by using a joystick, like in the meta world or something. So be able to step away a little bit, because I think it will be much harder for the host to do this for everybody. For example, if we have like 7 people in the room, all from different country or different position, different cities, it would be much like you mentioned, when we are joining, it's the same. We all squeeze in the small location, no matter how big the boundary is. So I think it will be very helpful to just using the joystick or other position key to move ourselves a little bit further or step away from each other.
Or actually, we could try to turn on the co-location even if we are playing remotely, and then because when we turn off the co-location, typically when people join, it will put it right at the center of the scene. So if so if we turn co-location on, it will try to put people in the different spots.
Why don't I try that right now? I'll put the co-location on. I'll put the anchor down.
Yeah.
And we can try joining, and we can try playing. I see that Dr. Dao has made it.
Oh, awesome.
And we can try that. David, did you manage to get your Quest set up already and get Zero Tier on there yet, or are you still needing to?
But it's not connecting at that IP address. It just says connecting, and it never connects.
We can try.
Okay, so Zero Tier on. You're muted.
So the question, David, is have you turned Zero Tier on in the headset? That's step one.
Yes, Zero Tier is on. I put in the hex code.
Good.
And it allows me to go.
So the question, David, is.
I see.
In the headset?
That's step one.
I think I did. But... Zero Tier is on. I put in the hex code. Good. And it allows me to go.
I'm getting some strange echo.
I see.
I'm getting a headset. I'm getting a long delay here, so.
Yeah, I think because you are also opening the live stream at the same time. So the live stream is like it's delayed compared to Zoom.
Live stream and just stay on Zoom with us.
Or just mute the live stream.
Okay, I got rid of the live stream.
Perfect. Now we can hear you clearly. Okay, so your Zero Tier is on. It says strongbear. You're connected to strongbear, right?
In the headset?
In the headset, Zero Tier, strongbear.
Okay, where do you look for that in the headset?
You have to launch Zero Tier as an app.
Okay.
So right? So.
I don't want to take up time from your rehearsal. So.
Okay, so what I'd like to do, David, is schedule an extra time with you sometime this week where we make sure we get everything squared away. But it sounds like you're close.
Getting there.
Well, we're close. Okay. So
right.
We'll get it squared away. And also, but we'll get it squared away before the workshop happens, because at the workshop, hopefully you said you were going to be around, you're coming. So you'll be able to kind of jam with us then, play in the piece in the workshop, play in the jam session on Thursday night, all that. So we'll make sure you're totally grooving for all of it. And so good. I would like to try the rehearsal one more time, and I would, Zio, you can also send your feedback to my email, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to start it, but I'm going to turn on the anchor so that we try co-locating. And again, Bethany, I'd love you to try playing your recorder at the end of each of the three, these draft movements.
Yep.
So my Zero Tier I have just turned back on. I am launching CsoundMeta. Do not join yet because I want to drop the anchor before you join. So no one should join. I'm going to say that I'm the host. In a minute, I'll share as well, Strongbear. I'm going to say that I'm the host, and I'm going to set up to show the log. And let me find it. There it is. And I'm going to say share anchor. So my log is in. I've shared the anchor. I'm the host. People can start joining.
Yeah, and everyone, let's set your room scale boundary as big as possible.
First. Now you know how to do it, right? Everyone, you would push down the meta button. You would go to quick settings, the clock, and then you have a thing that says boundary, right
Yeah.
in the middle there. You click on that, you can make a new room scale boundary for yourself.
Yeah. Another way to do that is like just step out your boundary and it will ask you to create a new one.
There you go. Even better. Thanks, Strong Bear. Much better solution. So someone is in with me right now. I am sharing. I don't know that I'm sharing the correct screen yet. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Share and just share the cast. So I'm just sharing my cast now, and I'm going to get out into my room, which is very large. And someone else is here already. That would be Bethany. Hi, Bethany. Strong Bear has joined. Like I said, I can reshare my anchor if you want. It looks like all of you are coming in the same location. Pretty much. You're all coming in right there at my chair.
Okay.
I can move you to a different location.
Yeah, so I could see like some people at the like a different location, but like Zio and Bethany.
People have gone to slightly different. Yeah, Zio and Bethany are in the same location. So how would you recommend they change their location, Strong Bear? Redraw their boundary?
Yeah, just move your their chair. I don't know, or stand up, and walk around.
Bethany is moving to a different location. Zio has moved to a different location. So here's my question for you, Strong Bear, before we play the piece again. Should I get rid of the anchor now or not?
Just get rid of the anchor. Yeah, because
I don't think the anchor mattered. What do you think?
I think it does because Bethany and Zio was right at my position earlier. Now they move out like about
Okay,
6
good.
feet already.
Good. So then in that case, I'll do it. It does look like Bethany and Zio are, and David has just joined. Hi, David. You made it.
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal, David. We're going to practice this piece. And so what you're going to do is you're going to push both joysticks in the buttons, like thumbs on both joysticks pushed in, and you become just a watcher. And you're going to just watch us play the piece, but you're going to see it. You're going to look around. You're going to hear it better. All that. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Excellent. And you're here. So your system's almost completely working, right?
Yep. I didn't have the tier on. I got it.
Good. So now I think we're going to be able to even have you jam with us at the end. Listen, let me tell you this, David. When you see that the world is exploding in the third movement and things get crazy, jump out of watcher mode by just pushing those buttons again and start hitting some stuff. We need more chaos then, okay?
Chaos is good.
Okay, so everyone, I'm going to cue up the piece right now. And so we're going to start, and we're going to all go into watcher mode. We'll all be watchers as the piece begins. Boom. Now you've gone back into watcher mode, everyone, because it got black, right? Everyone should be in watcher mode. That means you push both joysticks in. That includes you, David Dow. Push in both joysticks as if they're buttons with both thumbs. There you go. Now you're in watcher mode. The second movement has begun. Watcher mode, everyone. Now we're coming out into movement 3, and this is the one we want David Dow to play in. Not yet. Who hit the drums? Someone did. They shouldn't have. Might have been me. There we go. Randy, you could jam with us in this section too if you want. So, hello everyone. We'll come back. So we all crashed out of there, except David seemed to be able to get back in, maybe as the last person to join.
And would you be able to stay like to the end, like as a host?
I was, and I was able to finish the piece. Turned out to be a very nice piece.
Yeah.
Very mellow. It didn't get so busy. Not everyone was playing like crazy and ruining the fade out, and it kind of faded away beautifully on some planet all by myself. Just David and I hanging out, a couple of old friends. It was perfect.
It's actually a feature.
I think we should add the host can delete client feature, Strong Bear. We have to add that. So if you point at their name, you can just throw them out. Boom, boom, boom.
Like a nice way to fade down.
Well, we've learned a lot in today's live stream, and we do have enough time now to get a little more advice or questions from any of you. I want to welcome again Javier, who's back joining us from London, and Tyler, take care, and you and I will be able to talk with email and Zoom later on. Thank you for your feedback, and I'm sure you have other suggestions for me. All of them have been very good. In fact, it was Tyler who suggested the other night when we were hanging out, hey, maybe aren't you going to have Bethany play at the end of the piece on her recorder? And I said, wait, good idea. So ultimately in the concert, it's going to be really beautiful that if I sing a lullaby at the end of the first movement, just in terms of the story of the piece, and it's just sort of a kind of nature's lullaby out of the sounds of the wind, then for Bethany to actually play back that similar lullaby at the end on an instrument, as like a survivor or whatever, is kind of going to be a beautiful thematic kind of connection. So we're coming to that. That'll be part of Monday and Tuesday nights rehearsals as we work out the final details.
Also, hearing the crash out was actually good as an outsider because it let me understand better how the piece should sound. So
Well,
it was actually helpful to hear it that way.
Yeah. Well, you know what I need to do too, Tyler? When I do the group rehearsals on Monday and Tuesday night, I was inspired to say, because certainly Stormbear and I have played through the piece as it grew over many months now. And I'm still fixing it. It's still getting better. But it inspired me to say, at the beginning of the next rehearsal, I'm going to have everyone sit down, put on their headsets, and let me play them the piece by myself or with just Strong Bear. So that they see how, now it gets crazy, but now we need to really just shut up. and make one sound and just, just look around. So
it helps a lot with the movements.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to start the rehearsal that way on Monday night.
All right. Well, have a great one. Thank you, and I will see you soon.
See you
Yes,
soon,
thanks,
Tyler.
Tyler.
Thank you.
All the
And I'm
best.
looking forward to us playing together on Monday too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. Take care. Javier, what was your first weird impression of this world?
Well, I'm a totally outsider here, so I was actually the audience, more or less, no?
Yeah,
The first time it was a bit difficult to understand what was going on. No? So many visual things. Then I more or less got it, and a bit of your explanations and all that. I didn't hear any chaos at the end, but I think it was because you were alone or only with David. It was a very, very, very peaceful ending, and I was waiting for an earthquake to come, and it wasn't there.
right.
But the piece I'm listening with the computer, with the loudspeakers from the computer right now. There was a sense of specialization already from the computer. No, you can actually feel it quite clearly. It's not mono signal coming out from the computer. It's really spatial, and it's very nice musically. No? So there are really nice sound design sounds. No? And I'm not sure who was doing what at that moment because
Yeah.
it's very, very difficult. But the whole impression is that it is working very well, no? Very
Nice.
nice. And yeah, and so
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Thank you, Javier. Now, you want to know the really interesting thing about this when you're talking about these sounds. A number of these are sounds that I designed in 1979. You know what I mean? These are now able to play them. That's the whole point. That this
they sound a bit like the music of that time.
Yeah,
but it sounds a bit like chowning as well. So
I
these
know. Yeah.
Of very, very early sounds, no,
Yeah.
but the generation we belong to also. So,
Yeah. Well, that's part of
but
what.
they're still beautiful. That's the thing.
Yes. Thank you. But that's the deal. Yeah. I'm not. And the ending is not supposed to end. It's really the middle of that third movement where things get crazy, and you got some of that, and then the whole system blew up, but it kind of blew up at the right place, because that's when, it's like, after everything's gone here, is there anything that's left? And that's the whole idea. So it really is supposed to get very calm and sparse in the last two sections there. But you are right in that, who's doing what is an issue. And I'm glad you mentioned it, because even in our rehearsals, when Strongbear and I premiered the piece in Vienna, we had a smaller ensemble, and the whole idea of the very first movement of the piece was everyone else is not even visible. Just me, the sounds are there, I grab one and touch it. And then I hand it to Strongbear, and he from remote touches it. And then we start sharing, and then someone else brings up their sticks and we hand to them. So you get a sense, the training part, without knowing you're being trained, for the audience is, oh, that's how they're making a sound, and that's how they're making it louder, and that's how they're spatializing it. And so then you're not asking that question so much. And so I don't think you need, so I'm going to make sure that choreography, and by the way, Evelyn and I have been working on dance choreography for the jams that's totally different. But this kind of stuff. But and it'll be fun. But the idea of really sharing how we're sharing a sound, how we're playing it together, how we're playing it layered, it's all going to really be demonstrated in that first movement, which I've now made longer, and I just need to make it clear in our rehearsals that everyone kind of needs a moment to do that, So thank you for reminding me about that.
Looking forward to see that in real time on the 12th, is that, no?
Yeah, we're going to do it on the 11th in my keynote, and on the 12th in the workshop, we're all going to play and have fun and let everyone else even join. And then on the 12th, I'm thinking in the 12th at the night concert we open, it's supposed to be a jam, but to tell you the truth, as you know, some people won't be at the keynote. I'm a little bit, these nightclub
I
concerts.
won't be because I'm still on the plane when you're actually.
I know. That's the
a
problem.
couple
So
of hours later. So
I know, but you're reminding me in the jam session at the nightclub concert, they've given me 20 minutes to open the concert. And I do want the audience to have a chance to jam. But it turns out these nightclub concerts are not like jam sessions in a bar, even though many of them are in a bar. But it looks like they've scheduled a piece for flute and electronics and contrabass and cello and modulars. And so they seem like just more concerts. But you can have a beer. So the bottom line is, I think we may do a version right there as part of my 20 minutes and then just jam at the end, or jam in the beginning for 10 minutes and then say, hey, everyone, we want to play the piece for you. And then
I hope
just
you do that, because then I will have the possibility to see it live.
Yeah, I think we will. So I'm glad you're here again and talking about, because I'm still toying with what's best, and I think we might really run with that. So thank you, Javier, for being here today and for all this great advice. By the way, guess what I have? Where is it? Where did I put it? Wait, where's your viola? I have it. It's here. Hold on.
I see everything green there. So
1 second. Where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. Hold on. I want to show you something.
Okay. Okay. It's very green.
Yeah, well, because we've gone to green screen and I can change that. But the bottom line is I have it here. And so, yeah.
I sent you a couple of days ago an email about that, so that you can control that everything is there inside. Okay.
Oh, good. I'll check that out.
Read the email and then you can answer to me.
I will. I didn't get that email yet, I must say, but maybe
I can resend it. I sent it 3 days ago. So
send it again. I have not seen any new email from you.
Okay. I will send that.
Because I'm happy to open it and check it out and make sure for you.
Yeah, that would be good, because I need to know if something is. I have to tell them that something went wrong. I hope not, but normally to control what is there is better than not to do. Perfect. Now I see it. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So it's here, and so all good.
Thank you very much for that.
Yep. Good. Now we're running out of time for today's live stream. We only have a couple minutes left. Those of you who want to stick around after to give us a little more feedback in the Zoom, please do. I'd like to end our live stream in the same way I always try to, by thanking everyone for coming, thanking Strong Bear for setting up this whole thing, thanking Strong Bear again for now the super revisions to the program that make it even more stable and more useful in jamming and in concert. And thank him for helping me make these C-Sound dreams come true, which, as I was just sharing with my old and good friend Javier, that, these are sounds, some of them that I made when I was 18 years old, and they still live, and they're being reborn in new ways, and I'm able to put them in the hands of my students and not just say, hey, check out my piece. I wrote this when I was your age. No, hey, play my piece, play with my piece, change my piece, turn my piece into something that surprises me, which you're all doing. And so, wow, it's an amazing thing and experience, and it's part of what I'm hoping to share with everyone in the keynote at ICMC on June 11th and in our jam sessions and workshops. Again, thank you, Strong Bear. Thank you all for coming. Strong Bear, if you have any closing remarks before we close down the live stream, or maybe it even shut off automatically, I don't know.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, thank Dr.B very much for being my mentor and collaborator over the past like 1.5 years already. Yeah, we've been doing so much, and I couldn't imagine what I could have done without you. This is a new musical experience for me. and it turns out really well. Like it's more like a movie sound, moviescape sounds. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's
Sound cinema.
Yeah, sound cinema. Yeah, a totally new experience for me, and I enjoy it, and I could get lost in it for like hour, like easily. Yeah, it's so much fun.
Well, the exciting thing is that not only have you created this possibility and continue to make it better and better, and with feedback even from like Randy today and others, and Wen about how to make the libraries clearer or improve it or make the experience better for everyone. Thanks for Javier's input, my students' input. You know, the plan is to give this away. The plan is to make this a tool that we can all use to have fun with sound with our children and friends and students, and to, you know, sort of compose in. There's a whole composing back end here that allows you to do tracks and tell stories and edit the sounds. We are making it so that ultimately you can drop your own sounds in, your own effects in, that you can customize them very easily, drop in your own worlds. And so all of that is coming, but even now and Strongbear and I are planning on writing a kind of book or album or something within it, so that we can share compositions, but then share pieces that people can play and add to, remix, make their own versions of. So it's going to be a kind of interactive album or music making world for everyone, and then it'll have social aspects where you'll be able to share your work and all of that too. So I always imagined that it would be neat to write a book about composing, and then I always thought, oh, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough to share. And who wants to read a book? And sadly. And so then I thought, wouldn't it be nice to create an environment where you could teach and share within the environment itself? And that's kind of what we're building. And together, we hope to even share that. So it's coming. Thank you all for watching this extended version of our CsoundMeta live stream. Hi, Sal. How are you? And we're going to shut down the live stream now, but we'll keep open the Zoom a little longer in case any of you have any more feedback and suggestions and all of that. So again, thank all of you streamers. Thank all of you dreamers. And thank you, Barry Verco for C-Sound, Max Matthews for computer music. And we'll be sharing stories about both of them, my dear friends, at the keynote, and playing some of their work and paying homage and honor to them as well, which is what I've tried to do my whole creative life. So thank you very much. Thanks, Strong Bear. Thank you, my students, for joining.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We'll stop the streaming, and then we'll keep the Zoom open so we can keep the conversation continue after the live stream.
I got to run. That was fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Randy.
That you're in here now, so we can jam a little bit more, which will be fun.